In the quiet village of Ekachakra, survival came with a terrifying monthly price tag. A creeping fog seemed to constantly hang over the mud brick homes, a physical reminder of an unseen giant demanding his due. This diagram breaks down their brutal reality. On one side of the scale, a cart of grain and one human life. On the other sat Bakasura. They purchased peace by sacrificing neighbors, locked in a bloody, repeating cycle. Over time, the villagers stopped looking for a way out and integrated the horror into their daily routine. They had normalized a highly predatory contract, showing how quickly a population accepts horrific terms when ruled entirely by fear. Hiding within this terrified population were 5 brothers, the Pandavas. They were the legitimate heirs to the throne of the Kuru Empire, but right now they begged for their daily meals. They had barely survived a political assassination attempt known as the House of Wax. Their enemies, the Kauravas, believed them dead. If the Pandavas revealed their true identities or drew attention to their martial skills, assassins would quickly finish the job. Their perfect cover shattered when they heard weeping from the front room. The civilian family hosting them had drawn the short straw. It was their turn to send someone to Bakasura. They could slip out the back, keep their cover intact, and guarantee their own survival. Or they could step in, fight the giant, and risk exposing themselves to an empire waiting to crush them. This dilemma strips away the illusion of royal privilege. It asks a blunt question. What do leaders actually owe to everyday citizens when those leaders possess no wealth, no army, and no political power to protect themselves? The decision fell to their mother, Queen Kunti. As the architect of their exile, she held the ultimate strategic authority, and she looked at the terrified host family with a strict sense of obligation. She invoked a principle called Atithi Dharma. In ancient Indian culture, this is the absolute law of reciprocity between a guest and a host. Because the family had provided them shelter, the Pandavas were morally bound to protect that home in return. Kunti didn't hesitate. She ordered her second son, Bhima, a man possessing the strength of 10,000 elephants, to take the host's place on the tribute cart. Bakasura operated on a parasitic contract, draining the village to feed himself. Kunti demonstrated the exact opposite. She proved that true duty, or dharma, demands you risk your own blood to uphold a fair and protective social contract. Bhima loaded the cart with enough food to feed a small army and dragged it deep into the sunless woods where the beast lived. When he arrived, he didn't draw a weapon or hide in ambush. Instead, he sat down, turned his back to the cave, and started eating the monster's food. This gluttony was highly calculated. By casually consuming the tribute, Bhima openly mocked the tyrant. It was an act of absolute disrespect, engineered to strip Bakasura of the fear he used to control the region. Enraged, Bakasura charged. When the two heavyweights collided, the impact violently splintered ancient trees and sent shockwaves through the forest floor. The fight exposed the difference in their mental states. Bakasura swung wildly, blinded by an insulted ego and sheer entitlement. Bhima fought with the cold, measured clarity of a soldier executing his duty. When Bhima finally snapped the demon's spine, he completely dismantled the village's system of terror through total physical and psychological dominance. Back in Ekachakra, the curse was broken. The village celebrated their mysterious salvation, but the Pandavas refused to step forward. They quietly maintained their humble Brahmin disguises. Accepting praise would have drawn a crowd, and a crowd would have drawn Kaurava spies. Staying anonymous was a cold, strategic necessity to keep themselves alive until they were ready to strike back. They fulfilled the ultimate requirement of leadership without wearing a single jewel. They proved that true kingship is measured solely by the willingness to protect the vulnerable, completely independent of a throne or public validation. Navigating the brutal crucible of Ekachakra demonstrated their strict adherence to Dharma. They had shown the exact moral fitness required to eventually rule Hastinapur. But they couldn't hide in the dirt forever. News was spreading across the continent, a message flying like a glowing arrow toward their quiet refuge, about to force the exiled royals out of the shadows. The neighboring kingdom of Panchala had just announced the Swayamvar, the royal husband-choosing ceremony for the legendary fire-born princess Draupadi. Surviving the darkness of Ekachakra had forged them for the light. Now they were on a direct collision course with destiny. Follow for daily Mahabharata, like and share to see what happens next.